Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing this with your friends. Today's episode is with our friend Heather McRae. Heather was born in Vancouver and moved to Calgary as an infant and has always called Calgary home. Heather tells me that she's very grateful for the many laughs and adventures that her family has shared through traveling, riding down ski slopes, or tackling zip lines, and via Veritas?
Via Ferradas.
Ferradas.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up.
It's a rock climbing cheat.
Oh, that's impressive.
They're so fun. They're a gas.
I'm gonna look that up, Heather. Thank you very much. They've also enjoyed having dinner together every day, and they make it a priority as it is a perfect opportunity to share stories, and she cherishes each and every one. Besides her loved ones, Heather is extremely passionate about community, and that comes through in every move that she makes. At times of greatest need, our community rallies to provide support to those who need it most. During this lockdown, during the flood of 2013, and many difficult times in our city and province, we band together. Heather leads many of those initiatives, and I'll look forward to hearing what she has to say about them. Friends, you'll find her full bio attached. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Catherine. It's a great opportunity to connect with you, as always.
I feel the same. So exciting.
Yes.
I can't wait. Are you ready for the questions we sent you?
Yeah, you betcha.
Excellent. Okay. The greatest challenge that you've had in the last several months, almost a year now.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that impossible to imagine? 9 months we've been in this situation. So, I think like most Calgarians, most Albertans, it's been about dealing with COVID. It's about being concerned about your loved ones. And we are so fortunate to have a very healthy family. I've got good German stock in my bones. But my mom is 87 years old. She lives on her own, and it's very easy for her to get isolated. I just saw her yesterday, and she's definitely become more diminished through all of this. She's quite mobility challenged, and she's just not getting out as much as she used to. She can't go to church, those sorts of things. So that's tough. Navigating a home environment where you have 3 adults who are suddenly working and taking university classes and fighting for a space to do a Zoom call or to, a quiet corner to write a university midterm. That's stressful. You're kind of tripping over each other. And, just the general uncertainty. I think that where is this all going to end? And I think that with the vaccines gaining traction, I think that that's giving us hope. I think the next month is going to be a tough one, though, getting through the holidays and potentially not being able to spend as much time with the people that you normally would.
Yeah, you're so right. And the ones that are isolated isolated before this, and then even further isolated, can't see anybody. It's awful.
Yeah, I've had some friends that have lost loved ones through this, and it's been really tough. And people have felt angry that they haven't been able to visit people that have been in long-term care, and it's just been tough.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Heather. And what about your 3 things? I'm super excited.
Okay, my 3 things that I'd like to leave with the audience.
Yeah.
Well, I am a very avid dog walker, as people will know as soon as they read anything about me. I think it's everywhere. Because the dog park is a really magical place for me. I put together some really wonderful connections there. And very often we start talking about podcast choices, especially these days when people are looking for something to entertain themselves. And my number one go-to podcast for everyone these days is called The Happiness Lab with Dr. Laurie Santos.
Huh.
And she is a professor at Yale University who started giving a class to university students on happiness. And it was the most popular class that they've ever offered in its 30-year history.
Whoa.
And so she's turned it into a podcast, and it's a really wonderful romp through a whole bunch of perceptions of what you think will make you happy and what really brings happiness and joy to people. And It's things that you wouldn't anticipate. So, people often think, oh, if I could only just make a bit more money, or if I only had a bigger house. But really, the things that they find bring people the most happiness are those casual exchanges you have with people on the street, saying hello to a neighbor, checking in with one another, having a little exchange at the dog park. Those are the moments that seem to bring people the most joy. So that's my number one tip. It's such a fail safe one, I think.
I love it. That's good. I'm going to check it out.
Oh, she's so good. Yeah, I highly recommend it. The Happiness Lab with Dr. Laurie Santos.
Thank you.
Um, the second one for me is time outside. I am a huge, huge fan of time outside. So if I'm not walking the dog, we're out skiing, we're out mountain biking, or even just wandering down the street on a beautiful sunny afternoon and saying hello to people, as they walk by you. It's a good time to clear your head. Fresh air just always does the soul good, especially if you could do it somewhere where you've got trees and grass or snow to make snowballs. Or there are more rinks in our community this year. It feels like they're putting in a rink on just about every corner, which
Wow.
which tells me that communities are really dialed in, that they need to provide people with opportunities to get outside and get
Oh,
some fresh air.
I love it. I've seen that too. Lots of rinks. It's been awesome watching.
Oh, all summer long, the number of people that we've seen in the parks, on the pathways, in the public spaces, I've loved it actually. It's so good to see so many people out and about in the community and enjoying time on their streets. So
Yeah.
that's one of the great things that's come out of all of this, I think, is that we're spending more time in our communities and we're enriching our communities as a result.
Yeah. It feels a little old school to me. Back on the farm, everybody band together to do little socials, or we'd all bring baking for baking content, whatever. There was always something going on.
Yeah, but you know what? It goes back again. It doesn't have to be complicated, right?
No,
To make
no,
people feel good and make people feel joyful.
I
So,
agree.
yeah. And
Cool.
and the third thing I think is that we're stronger together. Um, just supporting one another. And I think that people are doing that in spades right now, whether it's, getting a neighbor's dog out for a walk or taking somebody over some baking or shoveling their walk. I just think that there's a lot of courtesy happening, and maybe we need to be grateful to COVID for that too.
I love it. That's awesome. And I agree. Actually, I see extremes of that. I see extreme kindness, and then I see not good kind, not.
Yeah. Yeah. We seem to be a society of extremes right now, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the grand challenge for us is going to be overcoming that and figuring out how to build bridges.
Yeah, I think the ones that are most sad are the most angry, and not always the same person, but definitely a lot of the same category. And if we can meet them where they are and help wherever we possibly can, and just give them lots of love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree, Catherine, that if we can start from a place that has the best of intentions, and honestly, we can feel very divided as a society. And if you spend a lot of time on social media, which is almost a necessary evil these days, you can really get caught in these really polarized places, and we need to find a way to stop engaging in that polarization and to do more bridge building. I think that that's really important going forward.
I agree. I think it'll help when we can actually have some sort of regular situation where we can actually say hi and shake somebody's hand and
I
hug
know.
again.
It's the worst part about meeting people right now
Mhm.
is that you walk up and you sort of stare at each other and there's this awkwardness because you don't know if you should shake hands or bump elbows, or um, people kind of shuffle around and look awkward, and then someone acknowledges it, and you sort of move on. But it does speak, I think it does speak to our need for that, personal touch.
For sure.
And that's great if it has helped us learn that that's really important to us as a society, then I think that that's a win.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Heather. How about your last part, the good news story, legacy story, or opportunity that you see on the horizon?
Well, I do think that there's an opportunity. There has to be an opportunity for us coming out of COVID. Certainly here in Calgary, especially, we need to turn this into an opportunity to think differently than we have been in the past. And it's been quite fun actually having the number of conversations I've had the opportunity to have with people, either talking to them about how do we bring childcare into the business, into the office towers downtown, which would require some rezoning at the city of Calgary. But we have all this space. I could imagine a really cool daycare space on some of these floors. Or are there education opportunities in the towers downtown? We know that public education is screaming for more institutional space. Well, could you put a high school into the downtown core? And what would that look like? Or vertical gardens. And I've had this conversation with more than just a couple of people about the opportunities that there might exist to be really thinking in different ways about agriculture. And it's big in Europe right now. So is there something that we can do to be taking advantage of that in Calgary? So those are the opportunities, but in order to realize those, we have to have people that want to be bridge builders. And that's the legacy that I would like to bring. I'm really passionate about making connections with people. I love when you have a conversation over here and you go, you know what? Somebody over here that you should connect with, because I think that you're talking about things that can really work well together. That's really exciting for me. And so that's one of the reasons that I've decided to put my name forward and run for council in 2021 is I want to help build those bridges. And then anything is possible if we can get to that place.
I agree. And you're running for Ward?
In Ward 7, which we've got a little bit of a change in Ward 7 this year, in that all of downtown, Calgary's downtown, will come into Ward 7, which I see as a tremendous responsibility to be helping to steward an area of our city that really needs some new thinking.
Yeah, we need some energy back, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope that will also start to happen once we get through this little COVID pit that we're in right now. I'm thinking that by spring that we'll start seeing people come back to business as usual, but we mustn't allow that to make us complacent in any way. There's lots of work to be done.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you've got all the energy in the world to make that happen, girlfriend.
Well, I hope so. Thank you very much, Catherine.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Heather. I really appreciate it.
It was great chatting with you. Take care. Stay well.
And to you.
Okay.
Heather McRae, running for Ward 7. Check out her platform on Facebook. She's got her own website. We'll leave it on her full bio as well. And thank you so much for joining us on Cat's Track. We'll see you next time.